It's on now.
Oh, good. Good calling. Good. Being very boring. Yeah, to watch. It would just be incredible. Okay, so remember last lesson, we were learning how to solve a quadratic equation. So the easiest way, or I feel the fastest way, is to try and factorize it. So remember, you're looking for numbers that multiply to get the end number and add to get the middle. Don't forget though, sometimes you're going to have to use that split in the middle term method. Now I haven't reviewed that with you, and you're going to have to look back at your notes if you need that as review. And so they're the ones, for example, if you have something like 3x squared plus 5x minus 1, okay? That's when you're going to do that situation here. Remember, quadratic equations, when we solve them, we always want them to equal 0. So if they don't equal 0 originally, you have to rearrange them so that they do equal 0. Now, saying that the easiest way and the better way is to factorize it, sometimes you cannot factorize it. There are no ways of multiplying two numbers together, n1, and adding those same numbers together. Okay, they just typically do not factorize. Okay, so, in those cases, we need to use what we call the quadratic formula. Now, in some parts of the world, you have to learn this formula. In your GCSE, you are given it. So you don't need to learn it. Okay, fear not. This is it. Okay, so this is what it says. It says, for the equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. X is equal to, now here you can see it says minus b plus or minus, so that's what this sign here means, plus or minus, the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Okay? It's funny how quickly you will become familiar with that, even though you might be looking and going, what on earth are all those letters and numbers? Now, hopefully you recognise that the B, A, B, and C relates to these numbers or these letters here, okay? So what's going to happen is you're going to look at your equation you have to solve, establish the value of A, the value of B, the value of C in your equation, and just substitute them into the correct position, okay? Now, what we are going to do is I'm going to get you to be filling this in, but I'm going to want you to have your fancy pants calculators, because your fancy pants calculators do all this work for you, okay? You literally just need to enter the A, B, and C values in, press enter. Right. Okay, so if you don't have it with you right now, you're just going to have you'll just have to remember the method. Ladies, I haven't asked everyone to start chatting to each other. Now, obviously, you can still use your calculator. It's just you're going to have to work out using this formula, okay? Remember, when we're solving these, you're going to have two solutions. And some people say, well, how? Well, one of the solutions is where you're going to follow the minus b plus the square root of blah, blah, blah over 2a. And the other one is going to be minus b minus the square root divided by 2a. Okay? So that's how you get your two solutions. Yes?
How do you know which one to do?
You have to do both.
Oh.
Okay, so one
right,
part you're going to do a plus,
answers.
one part you're going to do a minus.
Okay.
Okay? And remember, very few times you're going to end up with the same number. And then especially if you cannot factorize it, it's super unlikely you're going to have the same number. Okay, so it will be two different numbers. And a tip for you is if the question says something like solve this equation, give your answers to three significant figures, that's a heads up that you're going to have to use a quadratic formula, okay? Because you're not going to be able to factorize something if it's going to need rounding, okay? So that's just an exam technique heads up. All right. Okay, so here's our equation. Solve the following to two decimal places. So already we're thinking, aha, I need to use my quadratic formula. Hopefully you can see that there's no way of multiplying two numbers to get -1 and adding to get 3, because obviously the only way of getting 1 is 1 and 1, and that's never going to add to 3, okay? So we can't factorize, we're going to use the formula. So this is what I would like to do. Identify A. What's our value for A in this equation? 1. What's our value for B? 3. And what's our value for C? Now, is there anyone sitting there saying, where on earth is Cheyenne getting those numbers from?
Oh, I get it now.
Okay, Journey.
Oh, I get it.
Look at the general equation up above. Look at where the values of A, B, and C are. Okay, where's the value of A?
In the x squared.
In front of the x squared. So in our equation, what value is sitting in front of x squared?
In the which one?
In our equation, what value is sitting in front of x squared?
1.
A secret 1, yes?
Oh, okay.
You with me now?
Yes. I'm thinking the wrong thing. How come we're using that formula instead of all the square root ones?
We're going to. All I've done is just identify. Oh, so no, this is the question. Okay, so this is our question. This is what we're solving.
Oh wait, do you have to convert the question into the first equation and then into the?
So this is our question. I've identified what's A, what's B, what's C. Now I'm going to put those numbers into that equation.
Wait, which one?
That's minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus square root.
What?
The first equation is just telling you that's where the A, the B, and the C are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so all you need to do is to write down the numbers in the correct position. Now, when it says minus B, we look at the value of B, and it's going to be the opposite of the value we have. So we have positive 3. So we're going to write x equals minus 3. Okay? Because we had positive 3, we're going to write negative 3.
Why?
Because the formula says minus b.
So why is x?
So if you had,
Pardon?
Why does x?
I haven't finished. Oh,
so
this is a formula to find x. So look, it says that x equals.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Now,
so if you had negative 3, you just keep it as negative.
no, if you have negative 3, you'll write positive 3.
Okay.
So it's always going to be the opposite value.
Okay.
Okay? Then I write plus or minus. So it's literally a plus sign and a minus sign underneath it. Then I'm going to write a square root sign. I'm going to use a bracket here because I want you to be used to using a bracket when it comes to negative values. Okay? So I've got 3 bracket squared, that's the b squared, minus, now 4ac, they're all next to each other. What's happening to those numbers when they're all next to each other? They're being multiplied. So I'm just going to put them in brackets next to each other. The 4 I don't need to put in bracket because that's always going to be there. So 4 bracket 1 bracket negative 1. All divided by 2 bracket 1. Okay, so all I've done is in the position of those letters A, B, and C, I've inputted those values. Yes? Remember that these are being multiplied. Don't start doing 4 take away 1, okay, because then it's all going to go horribly wrong. And so this is what you need to show in your working. Now here's the beauty of the fancy pants calcs. So, can you get a document screen up? Lots of you don't have your calcs.
It has to be a document, like not a regular calculator.
Okay, so if you don't have one in front of you, try and look at someone's next to you. So just look at
Okay, it can just be like a normal one, like a normal blank.
So just have any other document open. So I want you to press menu.
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 Okay.
How do I get menu?
It's a button.
Oh, it's a
Where it
button.
says menu. By reading? I don't know. Which one do you think this is under?
Algebra.
Calculus.
Oh, there's Larry.
Statistics.
No!
Finance.
It's algebra, people. This is letters. We're solving equations. That's normally under algebra. Alright, so then once you hit algebra, or whatever number it was, we're either going to be numerical solve system of linear equations, or polynomial tools. Now we're actually going to numerical solve, I think. Press enter. No, shush now, lie that. I think it's 3. Go back.
So polynomial.
Apologies.
So polynomial tools.
Escape.
You go down.
Lie down.
Menu.
Menu. Algebra. Which is 3. There's enter. Alright, so once you're in polynomial tools, we are finding roots of polynomials. So we're doing number 1. Okay? So this was algebra on the calc.
It says degree. It says like degree.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to tell you in a second.
Menu.
Algebra, then it was polynomials. I'm just going to write poly and then find roots. Okay, then you're going to get those little screens and it's going to say degree. Now what that means is the highest power of x. So most of the time, in fact, I think nearly every question you're going to have is just going to be quadratics. So that means that the highest power of x is going to be degree 2.
Okay, it already has that.
Okay? Normally it defaults to that, but not always.
Where's it mean it's real?
Okay, so that's going to, sometimes we have what we call not real roots, but don't panic about those. Okay?
What do we keep it as it's real or not?
Yes, just roots real. Okay, so we've got degree 2.
Okay.
And then okay, so put enter in the okay.
Ah, there's so much. Oh
my god.
math. It's confusing.
And then you've got a little table.
Hello.
And it's asking you what's your value of A, what's your value of A1?
A2, A1, A0.
Oh, A2, A1, A0. Now, they've got something that says A2x squared plus A1x plus A0, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what are you going to put in the box that has A2? 1, because that's your A value, yes? What are you going to put in the box that says A1? 3. Positive 3, yes? And then A0 is going to be negative 1. Remember to use the negative sign, don't use the subtract sign.
Oh, what's the
Where's the negative
The negative sign's in a bracket next to the decimal point.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Okay? And then you press OK,
Oh, I still have the end.
Whoa.
and press enter. Oh, get rid of that insult.
How?
Something weird.
Press enter.
Oh my goodness. Wait, how do I get rid of the end solve?
Clear it.
Oh.
Something weird.
Press enter. It's in front of it.
So you're going to start again.
You press enter.
Yeah. And we have to do this for the test?
Hello.
Alright, now ladies, you may think, oh my gosh, that took ages. Okay? As soon as you get used to this system of which numbers to hit, like where to go, it's going to become very quick. Now, if you're thinking, no way, Jose, or I'm going to forget all of those, then do not panic. You just use your calculator as you would do normally and input these numbers into it. Okay? You're going to follow one of them where it says plus, you're going to follow one where it says minus. So you don't have to use the calculator. The aim is, or the idea is, it helps you go a bit faster because you don't have to do all this stuff and you are less likely to make mistakes because you're only inputting 3 values. You're not having to make sure that the square root's over the right thing, that you've got brackets around stuff, etc., etc. Okay? And as I say, whilst it seems now like a big palaver, it actually gets really quick once you've been doing it a few times. Okay? So what did we find our 2 values were? Now remember, we have to round them to 2 decimal places.
Negative 3.30.
And x2 is
0.30.
Wait, how do you
30.
get?
It just is 2 decimal places. Shut up.
It's that thing.
Oh, yeah. Wait, this gives you. We did the whole thing.
Wait.
I don't know where did you get to?
Where it was finally in.
Pardon?
You go finally like in.
Just press enter.
No, yeah. X1.
Just press enter.
It's a 3.30.
Oh.
And then it will come up with 2 numbers.
With Miss Harrison.
I do answer your question.
I forgot.
Oh my gosh. Really? Already?
Yeah. We've been doing that a lot.
Okay. Are we good with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh wait, I got it. Oh wait, never mind.
Why do you only have two x's?
Because it only puts in the equation.
Because
Why
we did
are
the
they
positive
two
equation and the
x's?
negative
Two
equation.
But why? What about the x0?
Remember there are two.
Oh, I apologize. No. This is nothing to do with these. This says A2, A1, A0. Okay? I'm just saying that there's two different values for x. I just called it 1 and 2. You don't have to. You can just say x equals and x equals. Okay, so it doesn't need to be x1, x2. Okay? Yeah? Alright, let's do the next one. Okay, so x squared minus 6x minus 8 equals 0. So it's already equal to 0. Our value for a is
1.
Our value for b is
6. Minus 6.
It's negative 6. Good. Our value for c is
Negative 8.
Okay, so we're going to stick that. So you have to write the formula version, but you don't have to work it out using your calculator. So we've got x equals. All right, this is where I said to you, you've got to look at the value of b. Now, our value of b is already negative. So if we've got a negative version of that, it's going to become positive 6 plus or minus the square root of. But here, it's super important you have brackets around it before you have the squared sign, if you're using your calculator as normal.
Why do you say negative b?
That says 6.
Oh, would it be positive 6?
The rule says minus b.
Would it be?
Huh?
Isn't it positive 6?
My first one is yes, but in the bracket it's not. Why? Because in the bracket it's just b squared minus 4ac. Yeah? Okay, so now you need to try and remember the order of getting to those values. So the sequence of menu.
I think I did it. I think I did it as well.
Okay, good. What do we have?
Wait, no.
Menu.
Don't do that. Algebra. Find real roots.
Find roots, yeah.
Okay, can I say it now?
Yeah.
Negative 1.12, and then 7.12.
It is. Did everyone get the same?
Yeah. We're working it out tomorrow.
Okay, Alpha.
I'm so tired.
Yes and yes.
Excellent. Okay, and then our last example that we're going through together. So we've got our A equals, what does A equal this time? 2. B equals?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. C equals?
4.
Okay, so we're going to write. Are we going to write plus 7 or minus 7?
Minus 2.
Just 7. Plus or minus the square root of brackets negative 7 squared.
I got the
minus 4
answer.
lots of 2 lots of 4 over 2 lots of 2.
Can I see the answer?
Okay, so x1 equals already
0.71 and x equals 2.78.
Yes. Let's just hold up to make sure everyone's got the same.
Oh.